Okay, so metal.
Metal.
The show's about metal.
What is metal? We're going to spread the hidden value in music.
We're going to proselytize. We're going to get the word out there.
We are.
That's important.
Whoa! Welcome, everybody, to the third annual GMP Metal Awards. You are here with your hosts tonight, Shredmaster Scott, Just Pete, and the Metal Evangelist. Guys, this is important. This award show is important because I was thinking about it in the shower today, and it's like every award show, particularly a music award show, but every award show rewards like album sales. It's like popularity contest, right? Good old boys network. But this award show, the only award show in the world that rewards talent. That's important.
That's good. Yes.
Yes, it's true.
The true talent. You can find it here on the Great Metal Podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've unearthed the diamonds in the rough. The hidden gems.
Oh. Well, I will say, so to that point, so you guys sent in nominations, and then we narrowed it down to the top 3, and then we put those nominations out for everyone to vote on. You guys sent in some weird selections this year. A lot of bands I've never heard of.
So you didn't just give people a list. You're like, hey, give me your own list. Who do you think should be on the award show?
Well, yeah, it was like, hey, everybody. So 2 weeks ago when we did our last show, it was like, all right, everybody, send us your nominees. And then, so I started getting nominees. I hit up Reddit to get nominees, all this stuff. And then, and narrowed it down to the top 3 nominees of each category. Best belch. We didn't even do that one because it goes to Shredmaster.
Oh,
so
I instantly
just
get
automatic
that.
One.
Most neck girth.
Well, I don't know.
You're working on
as
it.
me beat.
We might have Corpse Grinder on here this year. In fact, we do. And
if you just like let it open to the public, man, like who does just just everybody think is the best? Because that's not how it works at the Grammy Awards, right? Like at the Grammy Awards, you have probably like a small group of people, right, making all the decisions. Any band, maybe not the best representation of like the popular opinion, but maybe.
Well, it's certainly not the best in terms of like what's good, but like I think any band, at least the Academy Awards for film, like the producers will like submit their works to the Academy of Motion Picture Scientists or whatever it is, and then they like select. So that everybody lobbies to win the award. I don't know if the Grammys works that way or not.
It's like politics, basically.
Yeah.
To get your bill passed, you have to lobby and be buddy-buddy.
Yeah. But here we judge everything based on pure quality, and it's all voted on.
How do we do that? Like we need some hardcore numbers too, huh? Like measuring sales units and stuff. That would be interesting to see how that aligns with the Grammy choices.
Shred, that's what I just got through saying. This is not a popularity contest. This is like, hey, what's good and what's not good.
Well, that's different between like the people on the Grammy board, right? That's different than just the entire public, because that's what you were trying to do essentially, is get the people, get the people's opinion.
It's true.
That's different than whoever's voting at the Grammy Awards. I don't even know how that works anymore. I don't even think anybody. I mean, who cares about the Grammy Awards? Does anybody even watch the Grammys anymore?
No. In fact, we put up a poll about that last week on the community page. We put up a poll. Is anybody watching the Grammys? And 8% said yes, and I'm happy for Ozzy, because if you guys don't know, Ozzy Osbourne won the Best Metal Performer at the Grammys. 77% to the question, did you watch the Grammys, said, I had better things to do, like saw my arms off. And 15% said, what are the Grammys? So yes,
Maybe we should call it the
metalheads.
Grannies now. It's the Grannies
Ooh.
instead of the Grammys because it's just outdated and old. It's just not really
That's
how we
good.
do things anymore, right? It's like the courts of the internet really is how we establish facts and reality now, right? It's like a whole
Well,
separate
yeah,
process instead of like the privileged elite, the oligarchy, whoever is making the decisions at the Grammy Awards / Granny Awards.
Granny Awards.
well, the
That's
other
good.
thing is, you guys may notice I let my hair down today.
Mhm.
I
Because
prefer this look.
blown away. I'm gonna get blown away. Whoa! This is gonna be a good show. So
You need a
maybe
fan, couple
we should-
fans in front
Yeah,
of
I
you to
know.
blow you.
I
Oh,
should
man.
have like the whole Steve
Came
Vai
out
thing
wrong.
going. Yeah, he like just
You got
stands
your
over a stand.
axe in the background and keys. Yeah, you could be just crushing. You could play both at the same time with the fan. Oh, and you're like,
Oh yeah, legato
Double.
on one hand and tickling the
Yeah.
keys on the other. Oh,
Oh yeah.
that's the
yeah.
music video for your next track release, Luke. We'll release it on the Great Metal Podcast. So stay tuned for
Oh,
that.
we will. Yeah, once I get some stuff laid down, I've got a bunch of tracks recorded, but nothing completed. So
Oh, it's good.
anyway,
Good news.
so
Been fingering
let's.
the G string, son.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Let's dive in to our first category here. Now, a little preface here. I actually took some heat this week for even having this category. This is the worst song by an otherwise good band. And so we call it the WTF Were They Thinking Award. And now here's the thing. I took some heat for even having this. Like, why do you have why are you trying to showcase shitty metal? Well, because it's important to say, hey, listen, if you want to suck Cardi B's dick, you can do that, right? And just be like, everything she does is amazing. This is what everybody in pop music does. Oh, she's so brilliant. Everything she does is amazing. Well, we have to be honest, right? Not everything she does is amazing. And not everything anybody does is amazing.
Like 69% of it is pretty top shelf, but then 31% not so much.
Yeah, something like that. But it's, metalheads, we're trying to be honest with ourselves, right? And sometimes great bands put out some real stinkers. And so we said, hey, you know what? To add legitimacy to the cause, I'm going to have two categories: worst song by a great band, and then we also have the Poser Award, which is the most wannabe metal band. So that's why they're on there. If you guys want to keep flaming me, go for it. I can handle it. It's cool. But that's the rationale behind having these categories. So let's hit this up here. So this is the WTF Were They Thinking Award nominees, the worst song by an otherwise great band. Rings of Saturn, Husk. Ozzy Osbourne, One of Those Days. Megadeth, Junkie.
Junkie, what you live for? Junkie, you'll gladly die for.
All right.
Okay. So I don't know. I wasn't super impressed by any of those.
The Rings of Saturn one, I'd have to hear the full song, but yeah, that kind of stuff where it's just insanely complicated. You got the pig scream vocals. What do they call that? There's some kind of it's overtone pig grunting. It's just it's a lot. It's a lot to handle. Sometimes there's just like this disconnect between like just being human with that genre of music, just like trying to do the craziest thing possible. It's like, yeah, people do have to listen to this at the end of the day, right?
That is true. Yeah,
but
make it musical.
And then Ozzy, I mean, yeah, he's like barely hanging on. God bless him. Devil bless him.
Yeah,
It's
well,
gonna
he
be a
said his
dark day
voice
when
is
he- right.
he
His
quit
voice
touring,
is still
right?
there, but yeah, his spine is shot, so he can't perform live. Which I
Shoot.
mean, he could totally do. I don't know, like a social media band now or something. Just don't go out on tour. I mean, touring just
Yeah.
destroys people. It's so
Yeah.
brutal. People have no idea just how grueling that is to go constantly be traveling, going from city to city. So he's not going to be doing
Oh.
that anymore. But I hope he
Hopping time zones
does something.
destroys you.
Yeah, Luke
Yeah.
knows. What was the third one? Oh yeah, the Junkie
Megadeth.
by Megadeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that song, but it didn't sound like his absolute best work. I'd say that was
Yeah.
that was the least worst of the list.
The least worst of us. Okay, well, let's find out who you guys voted for. Worst song by the best band.
What you live for?
There it
Oh,
That
is.
takes it.
Fifty-one point
Megadeth
nine percent though. So the other two, did they split it evenly, or who was close?
Ozzy was a close second at 40.74%.
Okay.
And then Husk only had 7.4%. So you guys liked Husk, which, it was the heaviest by far.
Was that
Yeah.
the Rings of Saturn one?
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and I actually agree with this. I think that this is not a great Dave Mustaine effort here. But, it's
Try
still better than
harder,
Cardi B.
Dave.
So,
That's
win,
the other.
Dave. Keep
that's
going.
the other reason to have this category on there is you can see what the worst is and how it compares to everything else.
yeah.
You can get inspired, right?
Yeah.
I know you like doing that, Luke, like getting inspired by bad content. I was
Oh,
watching
yeah.
a horrible Netflix movie last night with Ashton Kutcher and Reese Witherspoon. It's their brand new flick. Oh, it was so bad. I was trying to get inspired by how bad it was, but it was difficult.
Difficult sometimes.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you get that like, oh, it's so bad. I'm inspired because I know I can do better. And then you do better. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, just make shit is my advice. Like, just do it. Because like, even if you try really hard to not make crap, you're still going to do it. So just level with the ultimate reality, and just the more you make, the more, or you'll find some diamonds in your crap, in your poo-poo, if you dig through that enough. But it's just part of the process, man. You're going to make some crap.
Well, that's good advice for this next category, which is best up and coming metal bands. So these are bands that released their debut album in 2022. And, hopefully they all have a long career ahead of them.
This is like your specialty, Luke. You always got your ear to the ground.
Yeah, well,
new metal.
This was one where I had only heard of one of the three that people submitted, and
Shocking.
I hadn't really listened to much of the one, and so this was kind of I had no idea what to expect with this category, and it kind of blew me away. So let's check out the nominees for best new artist. And this is called the Forging the Metal Award. Harriet, Profound Morality. Obsidious, Lake of Afterlife.
They don't let wings grow on my back. I see thunder flashing, I feel the ground rumbling. Why don't they understand?
Bloody Wood, Godar.
Transforming once again, transforming on again. What don't give up me, I'm control the time again. Turn on my life. When you plant my foot, I'm what you not see what I got, rock the boat.
Whoa. Where's that last band from?
India.
Really?
India.
Bloodywood was the only one of those bands that I had heard of. I'd not heard of Harriet or Obsidious. I will say these are all 3 strong contenders. Like I'm checking all 3 of these guys out hard now. Whoever wins the award.
That first band's bass was so low, I think they hit the drop Z note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were running
Super
some
low.
slow time too.
Yeah. Yeah. These were all like radically different feels for bands too. So it's almost kind of hard to compare them. But by the way, also last year we talked about making physical awards and sending them to the bands. And I'm going to do that this year. I'm going to make physical awards, send them to their management, and GMP Metal Awards is going to be the next big thing.
Is it? What's the award actually going to look like? A large erect?
Well, it is long, and it
piece
is
of hardwood.
it's a guitar.
Neck? Hardwood, yeah.
It's a guitar on a platform. I used it on the graphics last year. I can't remember if I used
you already have it
graphics this year or
designed.
not. Yeah, we made it last year. No, I just the image. Like I'm gonna actually make a physical award and mail it to all these bands. So anyway, so best up and coming metal band. Those were the nominees. Here we go. Here is the winner. Bloodywood takes it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, I didn't even know about Indian metal.
So
It's like Curry over there. But
they began as a parody band, uploading metal covers of pop songs to YouTube. And then they switched to doing original content.
Look at that.
Really? So they started off making pop songs and they did the bait and switch?
No, covers of pop songs.
Right.
Parody covers. I think metal,
And then just completely switch the script on everybody.
Yeah, and then
wonder
doing
that-
original metal.
Like Leo.
worked.
Like Leo Moracchioli. That's what he does too, right?
Yeah.
Does the parody metal of pop. And he's got his original material too, but I don't know if anybody knows of his original material.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, original material is almost impossible to get traction for it. And even if it's good, whatever the hell that means. Like,
Well, that song has 3 million views on YouTube.
and that's an original song.
Yeah, right? I'm assuming. I don't.
Yeah,
the
that one's
song
original.
was original.
They must have something going on then. We could look at like their Spotify monthly listeners, their YouTube subs. I mean, that is such a difficult game to play. Oh man, like to earn, there's that rites of passage saying that is so true. Like people won't even allow you to play original music unless you've like paid your dues. That's what I'm learning. Like people won't listen to what I play, like from the original side of things. Yet,
when somebody does not allow you to do it anyway, Shred.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a strategy. I mean, you can do it. You're just screaming into the void. No one's listening. You're more than welcome to do that, though.
Well, I mean, Pete and I were talking about this a little bit before the show. Like, just creating content, it's good for the soul. It's good to have out there. It might never catch on, but it's still good. It's still good to create. We got to do it.
Yeah.
Create original music, Shred.
No, yeah. And I am. I'm doing a lot of it. Shh, don't tell anybody. Keep it on the down low.
Someday you're going to win one of our awards.
I could get a large erect piece of hardwood one day.
You could.
In the mail.
Maybe I'll hand deliver that one. I'll hand deliver it.
Yeah, because it probably won't fit in my box.
Oh my gosh.
My little box.
Yeah. So no, this is one of my favorite categories just because, it's hard. Like it's hard to make it, the metal scene. There's so many bands, there's thousands and thousands of bands. So like, how do you make it?
Best
I love
coming.
I love seeing new people getting some traction. Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
but,
smart, though. I think what this band did, where they're doing the Leo Morchioli sort of strategy, because I think a lot of bands will just play for like 20 years, just doing original stuff, and then they're just, like I said, screaming into the void, and nobody
Yeah.
even knows they're there.
yeah.
And that's kind of depressing. So,
Well,
yeah, that's good strategy.
the other thing about Bloodywood, obviously, you know, play off of Bollywood, is you know, India, I think, is poised to overtake China as the most populated country on earth this year.
Yeah.
They're like 1.39 billion, and China's like 1.41 billion.
Yeah, their economy is doing things while
Yeah.
China's is not. Yep.
Yeah. So they have a very large local fan base to draw on.
Yeah, they have
Which is great.
a bunch of videos over 1 million views. They had one that was 6.5 million, and they
What's
only
their-
have 300,000 subs.
300,000 subs only?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a lot for
Well-
an up and coming band.
Yeah, but when you're getting 2 to 6 million views on your videos, it seems like you.
What do they
more
have
subs.
on Spotify?
I have no idea.
All right. Well, while Pete looks that up, we're going to jump on to the next category here. This is a fun one. And we got a lot. I think this was the most voted on award, too. Best music video. This is fun, right? Because it's the visuals. Shred talks about this a lot. Like, if you release a piece of music, you have to have a video to go along with it. And a lot of times, you know, what people are doing today is like lyric videos. So it's just, you know, some lyrics, which is great. And that's fine. But it's like, if you really craft some cool visuals and have like an actual like story going on and all this stuff, that just like, that takes it to the next level. And then you might get people that watch the video for the video and end up liking the music. So it's whammy all the way around. Multimedia. That's the key here. So best music video. Here are the nominees.
And Bloodywood, by the way, was 200,000 Spotify monthly listeners.
Okay. All right.
Arch Enemy, In the Eye of the Storm.
I still believe in life before death. It fuels a fire in me. I will run till I die.
Ailstorm, Seventh Rum of a Seventh Rum.
We sail the ocean's blue, guardians of the chosen few. 7 seals are now undone. 7 bottles of ancient rum. Legend.
Ozzy Osbourne, Patient Number 9.
Hiding the pills inside your mouth. Swallow them down and spit them out. I hear the laughter, scream and shout. No tomorrow when they call your name.
Oh man, I got to give it to Ailstorm just because it just seems like so much fun. I love their pirate theme. But why is the rum gone?
Why is there 7 bottles of ancient rum? So I actually brought a bottle of rum, and I was like,
Perfect.
if Ailstorm wins this, I'm pounding this thing. Pounding it. Because Ailstorm, like, they deserve an award. They deserve some credit. They're so much fun. They're so unique. You know, they really started the whole like pirate party metal thing.
Yeah. How do they do? Do they get any traction out there?
Oh, I think so. I think they get a lot. Part of it is like anytime you do something funny, that like people send it to their friends because they're laughing. They want somebody else to laugh with them. And so
really smart to play the comedy game.
Comedy's a big one.
Right. And that's hard for us metalheads because we take ourselves really seriously. At least we used to. But now everything has to be a joke. It's like life and the internet is just a parody of itself. As machines are about to take over, we're literally, you know, Chat GPT is like just knocking on the door right now. Right. We're like, it won't be long now. And that's what I see. It's like, you can't be serious anymore about anything. Just jokes. Make me laugh.
Okay. So there it is. Can't be serious about anything. But I think metal is still freaking awesome, whether it's comedy or not. And come on, doom metal does not make many
That's
jokes.
pretty serious stuff. Yeah.
No.
And it's so good. It's so good.
I have a patron who was telling me about Electric Wizard. That's a doom metal band, right?
Yeah,
maybe
they're
like more electronic-ish.
Yeah, they've been around a long time. Electric Wizard has, but I don't listen to them. I don't know much about them. Anyway, without further ado, the winner of the best music video is
I would have picked
absolutely.
Arch Enemy. I thought it looked like the most epic video.
It's
You
a
know.
cool looking
You
video
nailed
for
it, Pete.
sure.
Yeah.
There's this element of like, it's got Alyssa in it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, are we going to vote for what's funny or what's sexy? You guys voted for what's sexy. Can't blame you. Can't blame you.
Yeah.
But Arch Enemy is probably the biggest band. Well, I mean, Ozzy is obviously bigger, but like I don't think his recent record did that good. Could be wrong. on that, but Arch
Yeah.
Enemy is probably the biggest brand there.
Well, Luke, maybe you should take a shot for the rummer up.
Oh, shot for the rummer up, which was Ailstorm. Let's see. Actually, let's look at the percentages here. So Arch Enemy had 46.2% of the vote. Ailstorm had 38.5.
Okay.
So it was relatively close. But I'll do it. Ailstorm, you deserve an award at some point. We'll do a shot for the rummer up.
Love it. Should have prepared myself for that.
Sweet Bacardi Reserva Ocho. I don't know.
But this idea, pirate metal, like having something more than just music associated with your music, could be space metal, pirate metal, medieval metal, some
Space
kind
metal.
of other cultural aspect to incorporate there is really cool.
Yeah. Well,
and story, which I think leads us into the next award, right? Like you're bringing story into your music in a way when you bring something like that in.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So and that's the whole idea of like the concept album, the metal operas, all of that kind of stuff is, I mean, because you're telling a story through multiple songs that might go in totally different directions or whatever. It gives it a much deeper feeling, right?
Gives you something to write about, and while you're writing, you're thinking about these connotations and images, and right, it's going to make your craft better, better storytelling. Like you have to get inspired to write something good, and when you sit down, you have to have something in your mind, right? Like, what are you all about? Well, Hailstorm makes it real clear. They serve us up shots of rum.
Yeah. It's very obvious. Ailstorm. And even their name, Ailstorm. A storm of ale.
They have a theme. They have a theme. It's so easy to just kind of write about random stuff that's disconnected, and you just don't really have a theme. But that's just so important. I think I'm so.
Well, they're
bad at
definitely
that
getting
myself.
recognition. I looked them up when we were playing that, and they have a video. Napalm Records put it on their YouTube channel, but it's an Ailstorm video. 42 million views.
Oh wow,
That's a ton of
42
views.
mil. Yeah, that's a big.
42 million.
I see a lot of views on good music videos for metal bands, that are released on these big label sites like Nuclear Blast and stuff. Like that is a total legit strategy. Like put a lot of money into your video, make it a story, like a short movie, and then have a banger, of a song. And man, there's actually a big market for that.
Oh yeah.
It's like the one place where production is still allowed. Like there's so much content on the internet that's just lo-fi production, and it's like you can put more work into it, but a lot of times it actually works against you. You get fewer views.
Yeah.
So it's like, why
Well, yeah,
put
I
in the
mean,
effort.
and it's expensive, takes a lot of work, but I think it's worth it. Because I mean, as someone who listens to some black metal, the lo-fi stuff is hard. It's just harder to listen to.
Well,
It's just
that's like crap-fi. That's the worst. That's the worst of the lo-fi stuff. That's
yeah. So, all right. So, Pete introduced it. Next award here. This is called the Twisted Storyteller Award. It's the song with the best story and or lyrics. So this is kind of a deep thing, right? Goes beyond just the music. So here are the nominees for best story lyrics. Avantasia, the Moonflower Society.
I see ghosts, specters all around me, living star, blazing the dark. One by one, pictures gather round me. Where those moonflowers used to last no more.
Star One, Fate of Man.
Programmed to fight, faster than light. A murderous passion of menace and might. Power to kill is one deadly skill. The fate of man lies in his hand.
And Therion, Pazuzu. Oh,
That
this
first
is
video,
a hard one.
I like the first video the most. The animated stuff. That stuff's doing really good right now. I see a lot of people doing animated videos.
Yeah. That is a big one. But so it's like Avantasia, is epic fantasy, right? And then Star One, this is a little bit of a cheat because, all of the songs are based on movies. So they're not necessarily original stories, but Aaron does them in very cool ways.
Probably
And then you have
embellishes
Therion.
them a little bit.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Does his own spin on things. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Therion deals with ancient mythologies and all and the gods and goddesses and all that kind of stuff.
Except they don't do the Greek.
Cool.
That was like Egyptian stuff, huh? Do they normally do just Egyptian stuff, or do they do other kind of
Mesopotamian,
mythology?
it said.
Mesopotamian.
looked at-
Okay.
Yeah, well,
Just
this
like
is
the
off
cradle of civilization, the earliest
Yeah.
stuff.
their newest albums. It's Leviathan and Leviathan 2, and yeah, it's Mesopotamian. But they've done Greek stuff before, Roman stuff. They've done Celtic stuff.
It's amazing to me how those stories are still really relevant. Netflix just released a Troy series. It's a series. And I mean, those stories are so good. And it's like, okay, yeah, you got Cardi B talking about, the WAP, well-hydrated WAP. And that's one kind of like storyline that does get a lot of traction.
Yeah.
But there's these other stories that just have a lot more depth. And we can still, talk about themes of romance and whatnot, but it's just, I don't know, just on a different level. It's not level 69, it's level 666.
Yeah, and instead of focusing on one aspect of the human experience, it tends to focus on many aspects of the human experience, And
Yeah.
so let's find out who the winner is of best story / lyrics. Okay. I have to say, I'm so glad these guys won because I think we've had them on all three years. There's been a Therion offering and they never win. To me, they are one of the most underrated bands. They're so good. Oh,
Yeah.
Even though I
These
love Star
guys
One.
are good.
So
Yeah.
Therion, wait a minute. In the actual Grammy Awards, Therion is even getting a nomination.
No,
Is that
no,
what you're saying?
no. I mean,
Yeah.
No.
we are the actual Grammy. The
Yeah,
metal
yeah.
We're the-
Grammys.
Yeah.
So you're just talking
yeah.
about from the poll that you're putting out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last
There's
2
no way.
years, Therion has been nominated for something, but they've never won.
On
And
our
then this
polls.
year, and on our awards, and then this year they get nominated and they actually won, and it was not by a huge margin, very small margin. So Therion got 38.8%, and Star One had 33.4%. Avantasia had 27.8. So they were all relatively close. But I'm glad to see Therion pull one out. I was rooting for these guys. So that's great. And they do. I mean, that this mythology, it's so ingrained in us, in our psyches, and because there's stories about the human experience. And so I love their subject matter. It's a great video.
They
Good
get
song.
super weird sometimes too. Like the Epic of Gilgamesh is a very bizarre story.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, you guys have to check that out. It's like,
I've
like-
read it.
yeah, there's definitely some things that you're like, wait a minute, this just doesn't. We wouldn't write stories like this today. But then again,
Well,
you know,
we
there
should.
are, yeah, maybe we should. There's still, you know, universal themes that we can identify with. And given the fact
yeah.
that when was the Epic of Gilgamesh written? Like 5,000 BC. Yeah.
Oh,
maybe-
at least.
Yeah, probably older.
Yeah.
That's incredible that we can still get, you know, some value from it today. Because
Oh,
a lot,
yeah.
like the Cardi B stuff, you know, I mean, people still recognize my WAP shirt, even though that song came out in 2020, so it's 3 years ago. But
Oh,
the
yeah.
Epic of Gilgamesh is much older, and how long's WAP going to last? You know, is that going to be around in 2030, or are we going to be past the well-hydrated reproductive organs of Cardi B by that point? I don't know.
I think it's fair to say that in another couple thousand years, nobody's going to be talking about Cardi B and WAP. But
Yeah.
you never know, right? You just never know.
I don't know. People seem to be getting stupider and stupider, so they might latch onto it.
It's true, man.
There's probably not going to be people around, just straight up,
That's
for another 2,000 years. But
The machines will have Cardi B cataloged for sure.
yeah, you'll be able to like look her up and stuff. Because
Yeah.
you know, the Library of Alexandria, as great as that was, it's nothing like the internet.
yeah. Very
We're on
true.
some- we're on a new level now.
Very true. Okay, so good job, Therion. Let's move on to the next category here. So this is the best genre-defying band. This is the Game Changer Award. So this is bands that you know, maybe loosely fit inside of a genre, but they're always doing you know, really wild, interesting things, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, but they're really trying to change the game, right? So here are the nominees for Game Changers, genre-defying bands.
Let's change it up.
Persephone, Merkaba.
Know that noise is known.
Voivod, Synchro Anarchy.
Big rock rolls downhill in motion. Time stands still. The back
Korn, Worst is on its way.
calling me. I feel it coursing through the inside. I can't get away from where it's at. I feel it breathe.
Whoa.
Okay.
Wild.
Interesting selection there.
Yeah, for sure.
Corns on the new genre define new sound list, huh?
My guess is a bunch of people felt like Korn was kind of a revolutionary band, and maybe they still feel that way. I think they probably were. I mean, they were one of the pioneers of nu metal.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But
definitely.
nu metal as a genre is 20 plus years old.
Yeah, it
So-
didn't seem new at this point. But what about that middle band, Persephone? Wait a minute, what
That was
the
Persephone was the first one.
first one?
Yeah.
yeah. What's the was that the one with like the really shrill, high pitched keyboard synth
Yeah,
sound?
Yes.
that was cool.
Yeah,
Uh,
Persephone is great. They've been around for I don't know 20 years or something like that. But their music has taken all kinds of twists and turns. Like they're very progressive on the one hand, but then they're like death metal. Like progressive death metal is kind of a weird thing, and they really
Oh,
kind of like
that's definitely a
pioneered.
real thing.
Yeah. But a lot of times when you think of progressive metal, you think of like, Dream Theater and Symphony X. They're not death metal, right? And
No.
so
I would
it's
argue
kind of
probably most death metal is progressive, though, if you think about it. I'm trying to think of
Yeah.
death metal bands that aren't progressive. That's kind of hard. It's just progressive in and of itself.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
do move
man,
around
that's a
little bit.
real tricky one, right? Trying to find new sounds. That's a real hit or miss thing. Linkin Park really nailed something there, which they just came out with a new track Friday, a couple days ago. Did you
Oh,
guys
did
hear
they?
it? It's called
No.
Lost, but it has Chester Bennington on it. Apparently, it was a track that they didn't release but recorded back in 2003, so it's 20 years old, and they just
Ah.
released it now.
Oh, interesting.
But
That's
Linkin
some
Park had
patience.
Linkin Park had a new sound. They combined electronic elements, a little bit of the turntable stuff from rap,
Yeah.
bunch of other things, and then I didn't know until recently that Linkin Park is bigger than Metallica on things like Spotify, platforms like Spotify. So they're like the biggest metal band in some metrics, which is absolutely
Yeah.
mind blowing.
Yeah.
If you consider them, like metal, right?
Did you do a poll on whether or not Linkin Park is a full on metal band or not?
We did. I think they were part of the Metal or Not episode from like a year or two ago. I'd
Like
have to go back
Ghost.
and look.
I would Ghost. Oh man, this is tough. But
Okay.
I would say Linkin Park is metal. I mean, they're heavy. They're a heavy band, and they deal with very heavy themes too.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. They
I'm
get
sure
dark.
a lot of metalheads, we're like the best gatekeepers in the world. So
Oh yeah.
a
We
lot of
are.
people don't consider it real metal.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's check out the winner of the most genre defying band.
Whoa.
Yes. This
Voivod.
doesn't.
So yeah,
doesn't surprise me at all.
these guys almost. I feel like I know them, but I don't.
Yeah, they've been around since the early '80s.
Okay.
I think they're Canadian, but
so-
they're very like avant-garde, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they've always done wild stuff. I don't even know if you can put them into a genre.
Bands like that are really fascinating because they have like these cult followings and they don't, do good with mass appeal, but there's a small segment of people that get so invested in them. And then also people like that are in really big bands get influenced by these kind of bands. And so they kind of bring some of that influence to the masses. It's a really actually interesting angle to play, I'm thinking
Yeah.
of like Les Claypool,
Oh.
right? From the
Yeah.
bass player,
Was
like
he
that guy's
Primus?
from Primus, exactly, and or
Yeah.
like Buckethead,
Yeah.
who used to play with Les. But these guys are like really underground musicians, but they have influence on big acts, like
Right.
Metallica would know about them or Megadeth, and but the general population just has no clue about them.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, some of the most innovative people are inspiring the popular stuff, but they're not
Yes.
popular themselves.
Yeah,
which is
like Jeff
interesting.
Beck. Jeff Beck just passed away recently, and
Yeah.
pretty much, Queen is one of the best-selling bands in the world. Brian May is a huge fan of Jeff Beck, right? So he gives people like Jeff, his flowers and everybody, and then he gets recognition for that.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
a really good angle to play. But
Oh, yeah.
it's a hard angle because no one's like listening to your stuff for like, I don't know, 50 years, and then finally someone picks up on it and
Well,
goes from there.
Symmetry, welcome to the show. He voted for Voivod. It's probably a Voivod fan there. Yeah, they're just a very different. It's one of those bands that you either really like it or you really don't. You resonate or you don't. I was shocked that not a single person nominated Devin Townsend because he released Light
my
Work.
thought. Yeah, that was my thought on that.
Yeah, I thought that would.
What genre or what category are we talking about? The innovative?
Yeah,
what's
genre
this called?
define.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, Devin Townsend is one of those guys for sure. Like whenever I record something, I think about Devin Townsend because I just take a lot from his recording techniques, adding things like, really expansive reverb and lots of tracks and
Yeah.
different layered tones. I mean,
Yeah.
and Devin, again, is a guy that nobody knows about, but like he's very influential on a lot of people.
Oh yeah. I mean, even way back in the day. I mean, he started touring with Steve Vai, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So he's got that connection. Steve
But
Vai is another one. It's like every guitar player knows who Steve Vai is, but no one who's not a guitar player knows who Steve Vai is.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so so congratulations to Voivod. Like 40 years later, and they're still winning awards. And the most important award, the one right here, GMP. Next category, we're gonna go negative again here, just because we're honest with ourselves. This is called the Poser Award. This is the most wannabe metal band. So these are bands that I don't know, either they think they're metal or they're lumped into metal categories, but they're not really metal. So anyway, here are the nominees for the most wannabe metal band. Coheed and Cambria, A Disappearing Act. Shinedown, Planet Zero. Disturbed, Don't Tell Me.
Shine down for me. I get triggered by bands like that. They're kind of like the Nickelback thing where they're just trying so hard to be commercial. It sounds like they're just trying really, really hard. And it's not, it just doesn't come off that authentic.
I will say, I actually have a soft spot for all three of these bands.
Oh,
I like Shinedown. They have a couple of songs that I'm just like, these are really good. I enjoy listening to them. Disturbed for me is very hit or miss, especially this one. I think I know why people nominated this song, because it's a duet with Ann Wilson from the band Heart.
Oh yeah.
And So it's like when
Love
metal
her.
bands start doing collabs with like, pop musicians,
But
it
no,
really
Luke,
like
Luke, stop. No, but Heart,
it-
Barracuda, what started basically the chug, bum, ba da dum, ba da dum,
Yeah.
ba da dum. That's the
Okay.
first song I teach metalheads when they want to learn chugging because it's not too fast, and it basically, I mean, that song was released in like early 1970s ish.
Yeah, 70 something.
And like
So-
Dreamboat Annie was a great has like kind of a concept album type effect to it. But definitely not metal, right?
Yeah,
But
that part's
I would
not
say
metal, but
they're not necessarily
That's-
pop.
They were trying something different. No, they're definitely not pop, but
Yeah.
they were exploring the sonic territory, in the last category. They were innovating, and they like Heart really hit something with that Barracuda. I mean, that's got to be their best selling track.
I'm going to vehemently disagree with both of you.
Okay.
They're not pop in the sense of like Cardi B, but they're very much from the 70s and 80s pop scene. Very much.
No. They're
Yes,
they're
yes, yes.
classic rock. But
Which
pop,
is
pop would be
popular.
like
It's
ABBA.
pop.
Pop would be ABBA.
ABBA was disco,
or,
dance, music, and ABBA is badass.
I mean,
ABBA's great music.
I guess if you're defining pop as popular, then yes, Heart
No.
does fit that genre. Like it depends on how you define the term.
Well,
We've
yeah,
strayed here.
We
We've
strayed.
from-
We'll battle this one out some other time. But anyway, the point is when you see like metal
just
bands
take a
collabing
victory.
with like non-metal bands, it starts to like water them down or something. So I would have thought, I'm not surprised that Disturbed, particularly that song, was nominated.
To Disturbed, too. Have you guys heard that Sound of Silence?
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
I forget the lead singer's name, but man, did he crush it on that.
Oh, yeah.
Really good job.
Fantastic rendition of it. So all three of these bands I enjoy. So anyway, let's find out who the winner was, who you guys voted for, most wannabe metal band.
Shine.
There it is.
I knew
So
it.
Shred and Symmetry. They got it.
Symmetry knows what I'm talking about.
I think Coheed and Cambria is an interesting one for that because as well, like I think they've come out and said like we're not progressive metal, right? But they are doing something different, right? So they don't exactly fit. So people don't know
Sound
where
like
to
some
put
pussy
them.
vocals, to be honest, in that last track.
He does
He
have
was,
a
like, singing-
high-pitched voice.
Yeah,
But some of
that
their
does not
older
sound
stuff,
metal.
Yeah.
Welcome Home is like
Yeah.
Welcome Home
Right.
gets me, man. I love
Yeah,
that.
no, I like some
The
of it.
problem though with calling yourself a metal band is then you get typecasted and you're stuck in this trap.
Sure.
Because like even my fans, like I played a Stevie Wonder song the other day. And
How dare you?
exactly that's the energy that comes at me. And I'm like, what's wrong with you guys? Like, I don't want to be part of a genre that is like anti exploring new sounds or even
Right.
learning songs from artists that aren't in that genre. That's not what I want to be a part of. And that's
No, of
just where a
course
lot of
not.
metalheads are in their mind. They're like, and I remember being there in my mind when I was 14, 15, because I started off listening to death metal. And I was like, nothing, unless it has like that, just insane screaming, like vicious, guitar tone. Like I didn't want to have anything to do with it. You know?
Yep.
And that's like the attitude. I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but I think a lot of metalheads, at least like the ones that are into the really heavy stuff, it kind of
Yeah.
ruins your ability to appreciate anything else because you have to have everything just turned up to 666 intensity.
Yeah.
To
Right.
get a buzz,
Everything else starts feeling too weak. It's true.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're like, that kick drum isn't heavy enough. I'm done with this band. It's like that's
Yeah.
some pushing shit. And that's literally how you start thinking. And after a while, I was like, I have to stop this. I have to stop.
Yeah. Yeah. No, appreciate
good.
all forms for sure. And that goes into this next one. This will be an interesting one to get your take on, you guys. So this is the most experimental song. Now, I did not know any of these nominations. You guys really threw me for a loop on this one. So here are the 3 nominees for most experimental song. Artificial Brain, Celestial Cyst. Deva, Passion Under the Hammer. Ashenspire, The Law of Asbestos.
Always 3 months to the gutter. Never 3 months to the peak. Another day to grind your fingers for the simple right to eat.
Whoa, that was intense. That last track was intense.
Dude,
Whatever that was.
I went and listened to a bunch of Ashenspire. They're like, their lyrics are like sermons. They're like spoken word sermons, set to like bizarre music. You guys really took me on a ride with this one. Like, and I agree, they're all very experimental. So you nailed the category, but I had no
I
idea.
like the artificial brain. Yeah, the artificial brain. That was kind of cool, and their art was
the first
cool.
one.
Yeah,
that had some potential.
All right. Well, I don't know what to say about any of these guys because I haven't listened to hardly any of them. So let's check out the winner.
Oh,
so that by far that was the heaviest.
Yeah,
and I feel like the other, like the vocalist of the first band was really heavy.
Yeah,
but like musically, like Deva was the heaviest band. So maybe that's why
black metal sort of genre sounds like, right?
Something like that. Yeah, it's hard. Like when you talk about experimental metal, I tell you what, a lot of you guys listen to some very strange stuff. I thought I listened to strange stuff, but you guys listen to very strange stuff too, which is awesome, by the way. So there it is. Yeah, most experimental band, Deva, Passion Under the Hammer. Good job. All right, moving on. We got 2 more categories here, and we are running out of time. So next up, this is always a fun one. The most underrated band. Oh man, like every metal band.
Here we go.
Right? Everybody but Metallica should be in this category.
Everyone
here are the
has
nominees.
their underrated band that they feel strongly about.
It's true. Yeah. Here are the nominees. Amorphous, On the Dark Waters. Aeternum, Damascus Gate. Cult of Luna, Cold Burn.
Oh, there was some good stuff in there.
yeah.
Oh, yes. Cult of Luna and Amorphous. Love those guys. I've been listening to Amorphous for a long time. Aeternum, I was not familiar with, but a lot of potential there. They're like, I don't know, Middle Eastern vibes. In their
You're
music.
right. They should have been
Yeah.
singing about that Egyptian stuff, Mesopotamian
Yeah.
myths.
Yeah. Well, and the song was called Damascus Gate. So,
It's like Babylonian, huh?
yeah. So anyway,
Same thing.
without further ado, the winner is
Nice,
Okay, now-
Luke.
Amorphous
yeah.
at 63%. That's a pretty strong lead too.
Well, so here's the thing. I'm sorry, Aeternum. They didn't get a single vote.
Well, wow.
So Amorphous
people
got
don't know about it.
63. Yeah, they got 63.6% of the vote. Cult of Luna got 36.4. Yeah.
I mean, Amorphous, remember when we saw him open for Nightwish 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Where was Eternum?
Right.
Not there.
Right.
So
They looked a little younger too, so they might be a relatively new band. I'm not familiar with
yeah,
them.
they could be.
But Amorphous is so good. And I mean, I just have a soft spot for the Finnish metal bands. Oh gosh. Anyway, so most underrated band. Oh, Amorphous. I'm gonna enjoy sending them a
Everybody put your
Award.
most underrated metal band below in the comments. Everybody's got one
Yeah.
of these.
it's a great category. I love it. I love it.
Most people say like Anthrax or Exodus or Testament, right?
See, but they're all like big names. How can they be underrated when they're big names?
Well, there are like 1 million sales and below. That's sort of the class. You're talking about bands that are like 2 sales and below.
yeah.
Eternum, you know, I mean, their total, it's harder to measure them because, you know, if they're newer, you can't measure them by album sales, but they're just
Right.
microscopic, micro bands.
Yeah. Well, and I also don't I don't equate quality to album sales. So you can be overrated and not have very many album sales, right? But
Right.
anyway,
But if you get exposure and you're still not selling, then that's an indication that people don't like your product. And bands like Anthrax and Exodus have gotten the exposure because they've been on tour with Metallica, and people just aren't into the product. They just don't like the product. And so at some point you have to kind of come to terms with the market and just not, you know, being into what you're doing too. That's a tough one.
It's a hard
Tough
lesson.
pill to swallow. I deal with that all the time. Brutal.
heavy deal.
I
Well,
release a video. I'm like, you guys should love this. I love it. And just nothing.
maybe they
Boo.
do
We
love
hate
it.
you, Shred.
They just don't know how to express their love for it. So they just sit at home
Maybe.
in bed at night and think about you and your music. Maybe that's what's happening.
I wish I just had like a Neuralink direct upload to my fans, and I just give them my stuff directly, and so there's no like social media middleman, and then get their direct opinion on it. You know, because
that'd be nice.
Sometimes it's just like I feel like there's someone getting in the way of you and me communicating and talking. You know, and maybe you actually do like what I do, but it's the middleman that doesn't.
His name is Mark Zucker. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Final category. This is the big one. This is the what do they say? Coup d'etat. This is the Osmium Award because osmium is the heaviest metal in the universe that we know of. So this is the osmium. So this is the heaviest
Ozzy Osbourne.
band, like Ozzy. Yeah, that's maybe what he's named after. They're the nominees for the
Definitely.
heaviest metal band of 2022.
Ooh,
Corpse
should have
Grinder.
done this one
Bottom
first.
Meshuggah. The Abysmal Eye. "16 Scrape the Rocks."
Wow.
Yeah, like the super slow 69 speed tempo sort of thing going on. That like
Yes.
slow, you always think of fast as being heavy, but sometimes it's slow.
That's
Yeah.
what I was so impressed with that option, that nomination, because it was like, this
Now
is
what you
interesting.
expect.
It's an interesting take on what is heavy, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's very deep, very heavy.
You're
but
waiting
it's
for
slow.
that next hit, and just the anticipation of it kind of gets you all messed up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd never heard that Meshuggah song. That's so bizarre that I missed that. It was released in 2022.
Yeah.
Insane.
Last year. It was on, what was the name of their album last year?
That's messed up. I missed that.
I can't think of it right now, but okay, let's check out the winner of the heaviest metal band of 2022. Here we go.
Wait a
Oh,
minute. The
there it
first
is.
one was Cannibal Corpse or Corpse Grinder solo project?
It was Corpse Grinder's solo project.
Oh, okay.
I think
so
the Cannibal Corpse
obviously-
album came out in 21.
Yeah.
And then Corpse Grinder released his solo in 22. I thought Corpse Grinder was going to take this one.
No. 'cause
Symmetry.
Meshuggah's bigger.
It
man.
wasn't rigged, but it might appear rigged. I thought Corpse Grinder was going to take. I mean, Corpse Grinder is pretty heavy. Meshuggah is also very heavy, and it was
that
close.
song is so weird though. Like the kick drum, I've never heard a kick drum with that much middle frequency in it. That was bizarre, and they don't normally sound like that. They were trying something really different.
Well, it was Meshuggah was 47.8%, and Corpse Grinder was 39.1. So it was relatively
close.
close. And then that 16 band took 13 some percent. So Corpse
That
Grinder
was-
might have taken it if 16
was-
hadn't. Oh, go ahead.
16 was heavy. When I got to the end, I was like, wow, that is heavy in a different way.
In a different way. Yeah. So
I like that. I like the slow.
Yeah, I
slow
liked
heavy.
it too.
Yeah.
Slow, deep, and hard, as Typo
Okay.
Negative once said.
So, do that. So, guys, there it is. If you want to know what is actually good out there, who should be winning awards, this is where you learn the truth. Don't watch the Grammys. They don't know what they're talking about. But the metal community knows what they're talking about. This is the real thing. The GMP 2023 Metal Awards. We'll
If
do
we
it again
missed
next
anything
year.
too, drop us an email. What's our email address? greatmetalpodcast@gmail. Give us your it's possible we missed something. We're not perfect.
We, got
Yeah.
So
we had the heavy
drop
truth
us a
today.
line.
The heavy truth.
Yeah.
Heavy truths, yeah.
And I'm gonna send these awards to all the winners, a physical award, send them to the winners, and then I'll film a bunch of it. We can see if I get any responses. I'll bring them up on the show.
That'd be
So
great.
yeah, you guys will all see what I mean. With the Poser Award, whoever if Shinedown gets it, they might not be happy about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. They might be okay, but anyway, thanks everybody for the nominations. Thanks for voting, and hope you enjoyed the award show. Let us know what band should have won awards. And until next time, remember,
No Cardi B
that
allowed though.
no Cardi B, because the world ends with you. Make it metal.